Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Lindsey Nelson Stadium for more Smoky Mountain Collegiate League action. Quick turnaround as the game between the Cougars and BC White had just ended, maybe not even 15 minutes ago. Both of these teams got on here quick, and we're ready to go. Starting the mound for the Bears is going to be Bryce Bowers. And the first pitch of the game will be a foul ball for strike one. First three for BC Blue will be Owen Yvonne, Ryan Deggs, and Wyatt Collins, as they'll try to hand the Bears another loss. Ball going to be on the ground and bounced over to Elliott at first. Not the greatest throw. Puts Owen Yvonne here early. Immediately a runner on. Owen Yvonne reaches. And Ryan Deggs will look to keep it rolling in this top of the first inning. BC Blue, not a team that has beat the Bears so far this season. Bears have losses to the Eagles, the Cougars. I believe the Cougars twice, and the Copperheads. So neither of the BC teams have been successful in the win column as of yet. BC Blue looks to be the first BC team to hang a W on the Bears, as Deggs is brushed off the plate, 3-0. Bowers, Mize, and Finnegan, the pitchers at the disposal of this Bears team. As Bowers able to find the strike zone here, puts one across, move the count 3-1. Bowers making appearance number 7, start number 3. His last one coming against the Copperheads on the 5th of July, which was last Monday. So he fills the count. (2-0) the record for Bryce Bowers. 18 1/3 innings pitched, 14 hits allowed, 2 walks to 11 strikeouts, 1 home run, coming to a 1.91 ERA. And he'll grab yet another strikeout, moving that strikeout to walks ratio even higher. Might be one of the highest in this Smoky Mountain Collegiate League, as now it's 12 strikeouts to only the 2 walks in 18 2/3 innings now. Exactly the guy you want on the mound. Doesn't walk a lot of guys, is around the zone, and doesn't give up a lot of runs. Strikeout to Ryan Deggs will bring up Wyatt Collins, EHing in tonight's proceedings. The 0-1 going to be bounced in. Good block behind the plate by Harbin. I've seen Harbin start at catcher just the second time to my memory. Last time he started, did a good job. Had a caught stealing. So the 1-1 going to be hit out to right field. Will be caught by Jackson, and Yvonne will be doubled up. Yvonne, not knowing how many outs there were possibly, was off with the swing and gets doubled up by Henry Jackson out in right field to end the inning. So one runner left on, who was erased on that double play, was Owen Yvonne. Go to the bottom of the first. Bears look to hop on the scoreboard, all tied at 0. Bottom of the first, Austin Kirkland will get himself another start on the season. Has started in one game prior to today, making his second start of the year. 5th appearance overall. A record of 1-0. 16 innings pitched, 15 hits allowed, 14 strikeouts to 2 walks, coming to a 1.31 ERA. So a battle of some really good pitchers for both these teams. Bowers with a sub-2 ERA, and Kirkland getting dangerously close to that sub-1 ERA. Will face the Bears for the first time, as that is not an easy task. As shown right there, Henry Jackson singles up the middle to start the game. Jackson, who tripled to lead off the game yesterday, in a game where they lost. But Montes hits the ball to short. Going to get past the glove of Braden Taylor. Jackson trying to get his way into third. He'll be in there standing. Ball unable to be picked out there at short by Taylor. Puts Plamatis on board. And Jackson all the way to third. So like I said, facing this Bears offense for the first time can definitely rattle a pitcher. The Bears altogether as a team have outscored their opponents by a very wide margin, 115 runs scored to only the 72 being allowed. Have the opportunity to extend that here with 2 runners on and Logan Harbin at the plate. Harbin, who climbed to the top of the leaderboards in the home run tallies yesterday, sent one over the bullpen at Knoxville Catholic High School. In a game that saw a lot of offense to start. 11 runs in the first 3 innings. The Eagles were able to come out on top, win the game 10-5. Had a home run of their own by Eric Hubble. Two and one to Harbin. Smashing to right field. Will be right at Matthew Swaggart. And Jackson will tag. A relay going to be cut off by Slowinski at first. The Bears will put the first run on the board. The Bears, the best team in this league manufacturing their runs. Get runners on, move them over efficiently, and score them without problems. It has taken a lot of runs to defeat them. As the number 4 hole, Colby Backus will hit. Matas off with the pitch. Seemed to be a hit and run as Backus fouls off the first pitch he sees. As in order to beat this Bears team, the least amount of runs you've had to put up is 4. That came against the Copperheads last Wednesday. But aside from that, teams have put up 5 runs, 6 runs, and 10 runs. So the potent offense matched with quite a good pitching staff. The 0-2 comes in from Backus. Going to be in the dirt. Mamatis, who was reading the dirt ball, going to be thrown out by Harrison Garrett. So Garrett grabs himself a caught stealing. Guns down Mamatis, who was trying to make a good read on a dirt ball. And now nobody on, and 2 outs for Backus. As I was saying, the potent offense met with the great pitching as the Bears team ERA coming into today is 3.28. Was in the mid-2s before their last couple of losses. Look to get themselves trending in the right direction. As that'll catch the outside corner for strike 3. Backus was on his way to first base, thought it was ball 4. But the umpire will ring him up. Kirkland will grab his first strikeout of the game and bring BC Blue up to the plate. Top of the second coming up. BC Blue trails it 1-0. Bowers back on to face 4, 5, and 6 for the BC Blue, who now look at the scoreboard and trail the 1 run coming across in the last inning from the Bears. will start the campaign to tie the game and possibly take the lead. They'll have to go through the tough Bryce Bowers, but leadoff Christian Carlton up to the task. The 1-1 going to miss outside to Carlton. Carlton, a good hitter on this BC Blue team, hitting .312 on the season with a .452 on-base percentage. We'll watch a fastball on the bottom part of the strike zone for a called strike 2. Has singled or reached in his last 4 games. Going all the way back to the 29th of June. Has reached base in his last 4 games. Looks to extend the hit streak here to 5. Coming in a good spot here. But instead we'll walk. At the very least, will have himself an on-base streak that stays alive. So leadoff base runner on for BC Blue for the second inning. Owen Yvonne reached to lead off the game, but was later doubled up. First pitch to the first baseman, Drew Slowinski. Gonna miss up. Slowinski, who has been very good on the mound for BC Blue, looks to get it done at the plate here to start. It's the second pitch he sees high in the air. Ball will be caught by Cade Elliott for out number 1. Braden Taylor, a middle infielder and a pitcher for BC Blue, gets his first at-bat of the game against Bowers. Has finally made his way over the 100 mark on the season. But like Slowinski, gets it done on the mound, a 2.27 ERA on the bump. But looks to get it started on the offensive side. Hits the ball right back to Bowers off his leg. An absolute stinger. As they'll come out and check. Almost reactionary. We've seen that happen a number of times the last 2 days. Saw 5 of those in our games yesterday. With Avery Crabtree being on the receiving end of about 3 of those, only coming down with the catch 1 time. But scary. Starting to see balls get hit up the middle with some regularity. But runner on second base for Bo Milliken with 2 outs and BC Blue trailing by 1. Ball be hit to short. Make the easy play for out number 3 to end the top half of the second. So Bowers able to put up a 0 after Carlton reaches to lead off the inning. Bears come up to the plate once again in the bottom of the second. They lead at 1-0. Bottom of the second, starting up 5, 6, and 7 for the Bears, who will all get their first at-bat against Austin Kirkland. Bit of a theme between these two teams. A lot of two-way players. Saw Taylor and Slowinski in the last half. Now see Cade Elliott, who smashed the ball to Slowinski over at first for out number 1. We'll bring up Kendall Catlett, who was not catching in today's game. I've seen him log a number of innings behind the dish, and has been good for this Bears team. But today we'll get a break. But won't get a break at the plate. See singles in the right field, throw to first. Not going to be in time. Almost able to throw out Catlett at first. As Swaggart was in quite a ways, and that ball was in shallow right field, just over the glove of a jumping Mason Bell. We'll put a runner on to start the inning. That ball lined hard to third base. Milliken will make the throw back to first. That got away, but not far enough for Catlett to do anything. So 2 out in this bottom of the second inning for Mitchell Petzelt. Didn't even really get a chance to introduce Tyler Boyd, who absolutely crushed that ball to Bell Milliken at third. Petzelt rotating in that middle infield spot, as the Bears have done the last couple of games. That ball hit to the middle infield as well. Mason Bell fields it. Makes the play to second for out number 3. Rolling through these first couple of innings. Bears still on top 1-0. Eight, 9, and 10 due up to face Bowers as he makes his way through the first trip through the lineup. Still no lights here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. A little bit interesting, but not too dark here. If you remember, the game against BC Blue and BC White a couple of weeks back was almost pitch black by the time we got the lights back on. But Mason Bell to start things off. Watches strike 1 from Bowers. Mason Bell looking to pull himself over the 100 mark on the season. Sitting .048. But reaches base at a 400 average So has been very effective at getting on base and coming around to score. Has scored 9 runs in his 12 games. Though I'm sure getting on base is nice in general. We'd like to see some hits bounce his way. Has just the 1 hit on the season. But a 2-2 count to him to start this 3rd inning. Well, miss inside. Saw Mason Bell start to make his move back to the dugout. Maybe the pitch looked a lot better down there than it did up here. It's the full count offering. Gonna find that outside corner for strike 3. So Bell will go down on strikes, and Bowers will pick up strikeout number 2 in this game. We'll face Matthew Swaggart. He misses with a breaking ball low. Swaggart in right field has already had some action. Tried to make a throw that would gun down Henry Jackson on a sacrifice fly, but was unable to. Henry Jackson flashed a little bit too much of the speed. The 263 hitter swings through the first strike of the at-bat. 263 with an on-base percentage of .341. Puts his ball in the left field, giving chase and making the catch. Colby Backus, who was the first baseman in the game yesterday, shows the athleticism, chasing down the ball on the left field line for out number 2. Catcher Harrison Garrett, who has been good on the defensive side, gets his first at-bat in this game. Threw out Matthew Mamatis in that first inning, but is quickly down 0-2 to Bowers. As mentioned, Bowers doesn't allow a lot of base runners. He's only allowed 2 in this game, 1 via the walk and 1 via the error. As Garrett pops this one up, going back on his Elliott, he'll run into the netting down the first base side. Missed it by a matter of inches. Garrett, much like Bell, has been getting on base for this BC Blue team, but has not been able to cash in the hits column. Hitting 150 on the season, but has singled in the last game he played against the Copperheads, which came yesterday. The Copperheads were able to win that game 9-4. That ball sent up the middle, and he'll collect the hit. So good to see Harrison Garrett start to turn things around. That's 2 hits in the last 2 games for Garrett. We'll flip the lineup over. Bringing up Owen Yvonne. Yvonne, who reached on an error, was quite an interesting play. Ball was hit to second base and bounced in front of Kate Elliott. So that ball's going to go foul. Jackson was booking it for it, but was unable to get there. That'll be strike one. Yvonne, one of the better hitters on this BC Blue team, hitting .345 with a .472 on base percentage, and has hits in his last 3 games. 2 of them are multi-hit games. Against BC White and the Copperheads. So looks to stay hot here. Climb the average even higher. Maybe even start to chase down the leaders who are around the 450 mark. The 0-2. Going to be a good curveball from Bowers, but not going to break back into the zone. Almost folded Yvonne like a lawn chair. Ball started at his head and broke almost all the way back into the zone. Just missed slightly inside. The 1-2. Going to be fouled off. Yvonne battling here, trying to reach base once again. One and 2 once again. Yvonne will send that one up the middle. Gonna drop in front of Compton. And Yvonne once again will single. As I mentioned, has singled in his last 3 games. Now extending the hitting streak to 4. And we'll bring up Ryan Deggs. Deggs, who was a strikeout victim to Bowers. Looks to get himself going. That ball's going to be fouled off the mask of Harbin. Knocked the mask off of him. So the umpire will walk the ball out to Bowers on the mound. Give Harbin some time to collect himself as head coach will come out. Make sure he's okay. Always a bit of a scary moment to see your catcher get hit in the face. You have that mask, but as football shown, the constant repetition of hits to the head can be quite dangerous. But it looks like Harbin will shake this one off. Now runners on first and second, Yvonne and Garrett, after a back-to-back singles. The 0-1 Eggs gonna miss outside. Harbin came up firing, but decided against it, as Elliott was not quite at the base. The Bears team loves to try back picks. They love the... And their catchers have strong enough arms to execute them, or at least make you think about it. Deggs hitless in today's game and hitless in his last 5 as well. And that streak will continue. Bowers will collect the strikeout, striking out Deggs for the second time in this game. Strikeout number 3 overall. Top of the 3rd inning comes to a close. Bears going up to bat. They lead at 1-0. Got a new pitcher on the mound. Believe it is Wyatt Collins, who started at the EH position in this game. Comes on in relief for Kirkland, who allowed 2 hits and just the 1 run that you see on the scoreboard. Quickly down to the count, 2-0 to Landon Slemp, who hits the ball in the air. Going to be a tough play out there in center. But Deggs, with a lot of speed, able to come in and make the catch for out number 1. Bottom of the order, Jonathan Compton will get his first at-bat. Didn't get a chance to see Collins or Kirkland, but we'll see Collins. Looks for a hit in his last 2 games. Was previously on quite the hit streak of 6. But saw that come to an end yesterday against the Eagles. Crushes that ball into the parking lot. Hooked quite a ways foul. A .265 hitter, but has seen the average come up since that 6-game hit streak. Looks to continue that here, as this is Collins' first appearance on the mound. Compton way early on back-to-back pitches. Hits in the same spot, and the ball retriever will have to go back into the parking lot to retrieve that one. Just the 3 base runners for the Bears so far. A single by Jackson, a single by Catlett, and Mamatis, who reached on an error. Logan Harvin with the sole RBI via the sac fly, as Compton, fighting in this at-bat, will not give up an inch. The 2-2. And they bounced into the plate. Into the gut of Garrett. And a full count offering will miss off the plate. So Collins, who had Compton down to the count, will put him on to start the inning. As we get my favorite event of the evening, some trains brakes squealing. That ball hit in the shallow right field. Both the second baseman and right fielder having to converge. Mason Bell will come up with it, making a basket catch for out number 2. Looked like it was going to be a replay of Garrett's single that happened in the last inning, who just flicked it over the head of Mamatis into shallow right field, but Mason Bell turned on the burners. So with Henry Jackson dispatched, we'll bring up Matthew Mamatis. Runner takes off. The throw going to be late. Compton in the second with a stolen base. If you can believe it, first strikeout or first stolen base of the season for John Compton. Puts himself in scoring position with Matthew Mamatis, who has himself 8 RBIs in the season. Has not recorded one in the week, as Mamatis will call time. Collins taking his time out on the mound, trying to make sure Compton doesn't take another base. Trying to add a little bit of insurance for Bryce Bowers, who has been good so far in this game, only allowing a handful of base runners. Just a walk, 2 singles, and an error. 4 total base runners for BC Blue. And this BC Blue pitching staff has matched Bowers so far. The only difference being the 1 run on the scoreboard. So another ball bounced in the chest of Garrett. A good job by him to keep that in front. One runner on second with 2 outs. That's John Compton out there, who's already stole a base, stole his way to second. So any ball into the outfield will require a good throw to cut him down to the plate. Matas in the driver's seat, 3-1. Looks to grab his first hit of the day. But we'll walk. So reaches base nonetheless. And 2 walks in this inning from Collins. I put 2 runners on. A small meeting at the mound between Garrett and Collins. A little bit of words of confidence just to make sure he's okay. But puts the next pitch to the backstop to put runners at second and third. Logan Harbin with an RBI in today's game already. Had a sacrifice fly in the first. As I mentioned in his first time up, is tied for the lead in home runs. Made his way up to the top of the leaderboard yesterday, where he sent one over the bullpen in left at Knoxville Catholic High School. The 1-1's going to clip that outside corner and put Logan Harbin in a hole here. Smashed on the ground, but right to Braden Taylor. Didn't have to move a muscle. Makes the play for out number 3. So runners stranded at second and third, both Compton and Mamatis. Brings us to the top of the 4th inning. BC Blue coming up, trailing by 1. Top of the fourth inning in this 1-0 affair. BC Blue looks to put some runners on and put some pressure on this Bears pitching staff. No runner has touched third base so far in the game for BC Blue. I've had 4 base runners, 2 hits, a walk and an error. They'll face new pitcher Ryan Finnegan. First pitch to Finnegan going to be smashed in the left field past the diving glove of Mamatis. Wyatt Collins, who just came on to pitch, gets it done at the plate. Says, don't worry about it. I'll do it myself. Finnegan making his 4th start of the season for the Bears. A record of 1-0. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits given up, 1 walk to 2 strikeouts, and a big fat goose egg in the runs columns. Has been a great bridge guy to come in and log some innings. Has collected the 1 win. Came against the Cougars, where they won 3-2 on the 29th of June. As Carlton will look to do some damage here. Walked. Something that doesn't happen often from Bowers. Came into the game with only 2 walks given up in his past appearances. As Finnegan finds that outside corner, he was the kind of a 2-2. Carlton looking for yet another hit, as his hit streak is up at 4. I believe I mentioned that his last time up. I mentioned that the on-base streak might live on, as that one extends even further back. As I look at the stats, only 1 game where Christian Carlton has not reached base. But he'll foul this one off his foot. We'll give him some time to recover, as those never feel good. Just did some counting. Christian Carlton, who walked earlier in this game and walks here, has extended his on-base streak to 11, which I believe off the top of my head is what Mike Palich was at before his on-base streak came to a close. Only 1 game in the season where Carlton has not reached base came against the Bears on June 15th. Even in that game, came around to score. So must have reached on an error. So that ball flared over the head of Elliott. He'll range back, and they'll call it foul. Could have sworn Elliott touched that ball in fair territory. But I'm not down there on the field, so I can't get the best angle. Drew Slawinski, who I've mentioned before, has been very, very good for this BC Blue team on the mound. Looks to get it down to the plate. Runners take off. The throw goes to the trailing runner. Won't be in time. Both runners will move up 90 feet. Pitch was in there for a strike. But Collins doing his part to tie this game. Still nobody out in the now the tying run at third. As Finnegan's scoreless inning streak looks to be in jeopardy, has gone the last 7 innings without giving up a run. The last 7 being his only 7 innings. But now with Wyatt Collins at third and nobody out, going to take a magic act from Finnegan to get out of this one. Slawinski, who popped out to Elliott his last time up, looks to reach base this time. So he fouls off yet another pitch. Waiting on the on-deck circle is Braden Taylor. But Slawinski trying to grab some RBIs for himself. Had one in the game against the Copperheads on Thursday, or Monday rather, yesterday, where he went 1 for 3, grabbed himself an RBI. So he looks to get into a bit of an RBI streak. So he just keeps battling off pitches. Umpire has to collect some more as these balls are getting all up in these stands. The 2-2. Again fouled off. A bit of a war of attrition between Finnegan and Slawinski. Who will blink first? The 2-2. Fouled off once again. One of the parties has bound to get tired. Requires a lot of focus to stay locked in throughout this long of an at-bat. And we will see who makes the first mistake. Will it be Finnegan leaving something over the plate? Or will it be Slawinski not able to get on base? This ball hit to Elliott. Will be caught. Finnegan wins the at-bat in the sense that he got out number 1. Slawinski absolutely crushed that ball. Could not find the gap. We'll bring up Braden Taylor with 1 out and still runners at second and third. Taylor with 2 hits in his last 2 games. But a ground out victim back to the mound his last time up. Hits the ball to second. That'll score a run. Should get all the high fives as he goes back into the dugout. He's just tied this game at 1. Two outs and still that runner at third. Christian Carlton, the runner over there. with Bo Milliken with an opportunity to give BC Blue the lead and give Wyatt Collins, who's on the mound, a chance to hold off this potent Bears offense and hand them back-to-back losses. But Finnegan is having none of it. Quickly puts Milliken in a hole 0-2. Looks for his first strikeout of the game to end the inning. And he'll push that fastball off the outside corner. So 1-2 the count with 2 outs and a runner at third base. That's Christian Carlton. And the 1-2 will not find the zone. 1 run already across from Christian Collins, who was hit in by Taylor, who grounded out to second base. The first run given up by Finnegan this whole season has been a robot with a 7-inning scoreless streak. As the 2-2 going to miss low. A very good spot for that pitch, but Milliken not taking the bait. Brings the count full at 3-2. The 3-2. On the ground to third. And a good pick by Elliott over there at first base to end the inning. 1 run comes across, and only the 1 run. Wyatt Collins helps himself out, who is on the mound. Singles and is eventually brought around by Braden Taylor. So we go to the bottom of the 4th. Bears coming up to bat. Game all tied up at 1s. New pitcher on the mound for BC Blue as we start the bottom half of the 4th. Going to be Bay Griffin. Saw Griffin last Thursday against BC White. Has 8 innings, allowing 17 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts for an 8.75 ERA. He'll face the middle part of this Bears lineup, 4, 5, and 6. Backus, Elliott, and Catlett. Has previously faced the Bears, received the loss. As he pitched 1 inning, gave up 4 hits, 2 runs. In a game that saw the Bears win 6-0. Griffin was the starting pitcher in that game, but now comes in relief, hoping for a different result. hang some zeros up and give BC Blue a chance to get it done at the plate. Backus 0 for 1 in this game. And as I say that, he singles that one to left field. Just the life of an announcer. You start to say something, and immediately the opposite happens. Backus grabs his first hit of the game. And puts the Bears in business to start the bottom half as they try to respond to the one run that was put up in the top of the fourth by this BC Blue team. We'll bring up the two-way athlete of Cade Elliott. .268 on the season from Elliott, but has been lights out on the mound as well. Has come in and pitched 19 innings for this Bears team and has a .258 ERA. But at the plate, it's .286 with an on-base percentage of .456. The 0-2 bounced in off the chest piece of Garrett. Doesn't get far enough away for Backus to consider moving up. Elliott hitless in his last two games. His last hit coming against this BC Blue team on the 28th of June. It's another ball in the dirt. Still a good job by Garrett to keep it close. Backus having to retreat back to first. Count all tied up at 2s. Cade Elliott looks to get something going. Runner takes off. Ball hit to the right side. Going to be a tough play as Griffin is going to have to come and cover the base. And he will do just that. Absolute chaos ensued during that play. A hit and run, a ball to the right side that required a pitcher to cover. But all worked out in the end for BC Blue. Elliott able to advance the runner. Does a good job in that regard. As the E.H. Kendall Catlett has himself yet another RBI opportunity. 11 on the season. Runner off with the pitch. Ball fumbled by Garrett. Allows Backus to get himself into third base. The BC Blue infield will come in, knowing that this is the later parts of this game. Copperheads Eagles supposed to start next. It's supposed to start around 8 o'clock, but we have been severely delayed here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium today. Saw a showcase take their time. We're running a bit late and pushed the first game back to around 5:15. That game between the Cougars and BCY ended in a 1-1 tie through 6 innings. Looked to be about on the same course here, unless Catlett has something to say about it. Fouls off the 3-1, fills the count at 3-2. 1 for 1 already in this game for Catlett. Singled in the second. And looks to repeat success. We'll watch a ball low for ball 4. So Catlett will walk, and the middle infield for BC Blue will go back to double play depth. Catlett will not grab his 12th RBI just yet. Instead, his walk will bring up Tyler Boyd. As Catlett off with the pitch, they'll let him have it. Stolen base number 4 on the season for Catlett, as they were going to let him have it any day. The more important run over at third base. BC Blue cutting this run off like this might be the last inning we see between them. But 1-1 to Tyler Boyd has runners at second and third. Ball hit on the ground to Milliken at third. Who'll make the play over to first base. Had to be dug out by Slawinski for out number 2. Boyd not able to push one through the iron wall of BC Blues infield. We'll now have 2 outs, and Griffin in a good spot to get himself out of the jam. Has had 2 runners on in scoring position with 1 out. And will now face Mitchell Petzelt to get himself out of this inning and hang up another 0. Petzelt, the ground out victim his last time up. Grounded out to Mason Bell over there at second base. It is down 0-2. Bears in danger of leaving 2 runners in scoring position that might come back to bite them later in this game. BC Blue, if they were to get out of this inning, would have all the momentum, but instead Petzelt sends the ball up the middle. 1 run will score, and they'll hold Catlett at third. Mitchell Petzelt has just given the Bears the lead in the bottom of the 4th inning. So tough to beat this Bears team because anybody in this lineup can beat you at any time. That was just the 8-hole hitter, Mitchell Petzelt, who singled up the middle to bring in Colby Backus and give the Bears the lead. Landon Slemp will look to pour some more on, as the sun is almost completely set here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Quite the beautiful sunset just over the right-hand side of me over the bleachers. Runner takes off. They'll let him have it. So Petzelt with the stolen base of his own, capitalizing on BC Blue letting the trailing runner get whatever base he wants. More focused on Landon Slemp, who is down 1-2 in this count. Slemp with 7 RBIs in the season looks for yet another one as he hits 220 on the season. Not a lot of walks being credited to him either. Only just the 3 walks on the season, coupled with the 9 hits. As he'll be rung up at the plate. Griffin punches that inside corner for strike 3 to end the bottom of the 4th. 1 run comes across. Colby Backus scores on the single from Mitchell Petzelt. BC Blue comes to the plate. They now trail it 2-1. Top of the fifth inning, Justin Mize comes on the pitch in relief for Finnegan. Mize, one of the best pitchers in this Smoky Mountain Collegiate League, was almost untouchable for quite some time. And has logged a crazy amount of innings for not having a single start. 29 and 1/3 innings pitched out of the bullpen. 27 hits allowed. 4 walks to 12 strikeouts for a 1.91 ERA. As you see right there, that breaking ball, his bread and butter. Has had 2 shaky outings in his last 3. Received the loss against the Cougars, where he came in and pitched 4 innings, gave up 5 hits and 3 runs. It was the first time the Cougars had beat the Bears. I believe it was the first time anybody had beat the Bears. So the 1-2 comes in. Hit on the ground to Mamatis. Will field it on his backhand and skip it over to Elliott, who can't make the pick. So Mason Bell reaches to lead off this top of the 5th inning. Getting a little late here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Not entirely sure if we will play further than this 5th inning, as both the Copperheads and the Eagles itching to get onto the field. Matthew Swaggart will sky one into left field. Be caught by Colby Backus, the man who came around to score in the last inning. Ten-hole hitting bottom of the order Harrison Garrett, who has been very good behind the plate today, looks to continue this inning for BC Blue. They trail it by just the 1 run that was given up in the last half inning. Chops that ball to Mize. Only play will be over to first. And they'll get out number 2. Mize crossing the 30th inning threshold. Have to do some research, but off the top of my head, only less than a handful of pitchers have been able to cross that threshold. I believe Nathan Hoffman of the Cougars is the only one I can think of right now. Drops that curveball in there for strike 1 on the leadoff man, Owen Yvonne, who singled in the 3rd. Now pops this one straight up to Logan Harbin. Makes the play for out number 3. And it looks like that'll end the game. So indeed, only playing just the 5 innings. Or check it, maybe not. I guess not. Well, let me reset the scoreboard then. That's a bit embarrassing. Well, all right. BC Blue taking the field. Bears coming up to bat in the bottom of the 5th inning. They lead it 2-1. Drew Slawinski on the mound for BC Blue. As I've mentioned, one of the best pitchers on this team, one of the best pitchers in the league. First pitch will be in there for strike one. He'll face 10-1-2, Compton, Jackson, and Mamatis. So that ball hit hard back into the Bears dugout. Now the Copperheads have come in and occupied that third base dugout. So yet again, not entirely sure if we're going to be playing past this fifth inning or if Travis Hart, Bears manager, or Bears head coach, just wanted to get his boys another at-bat. But either way, they'll face Drew Slawinski, who is making appearance number 5. Swinging and a miss, strike 3. As Slawinski will grab his strikeout to start the appearance for him. We just got word that the game is over. The final score is 2-1. But we're just going to play through this here. Stats will count. So top of the order, Henry Jackson looks to grab hit number 2 in this game. Pops the ball high into the air. We're going to go right into the net for strike 2. Jackson 1 for 2 in today's game with a single and a pop out to Mason Bell at second base. The 0-2 from Slawinski. Going to miss outside, 1-2. So with the win, the Bears move further ahead into first place. As we see a strikeout of Henry Jackson from Slawinski. Back-to-back strikeouts. Looks to strike out the side here. With the win today, Bears move to 17-4. As Mamatis hits that ball out to Deggs in center field, will be caught for out number 3 and the end of the game. Two to 1 our final here. Slawinski came in and did a good job in his half inning. As I said, Bears move to 17-4. Another game further ahead of the Copperheads, who were 4.5 games out of first in today's game. BC Blue will grab their 8th loss of the season, moving their record to 7-8. A good game all around, with the Bears taking the lead late in the game. They win it 2-1. Still one more game to come up. The Copperheads versus Eagles. So stick around for that. That one should be starting soon. Thank you for tuning in. Final score, Bears 2, BC Blue 1. Hope to see you soon.